here and decide that I wanted to concatenate these guys by putting a plus sign inside of there. You might think that this guy right here is going to give me exactly the same value as this guy right here. Well, why don't we save it and reload and see if that's true? Well, we want to first come in here and throw in a script tag, of course, and then let's save that and reload it and see if that's true. Well, you can see right here that it isn't true. Why is that? Well, the reason why is right here where we use the comma, that is going to treat this as a mathematical function, while here where we have a plus, remember we can concatenate strings together, that's a concatenation operator. That instead is going to combine all these as if 5 and 4 were strings. So that's a common thing that throws some people, and now you understand it and you won't have a problem with it. Of course, we're also going to be able to come in here and perform all of the common mathematical operations. We'll be able to come in, for example, and do some subtraction on this, and some multiplication, and some division, as well as modulus, which is going to give us the remainder of a division. And you can see all the different mathematical calculations we can perform that are built into JavaScript. Another thing that's important to understand is that there is a standard way to store numbers inside of JavaScript. So let's say we wanted to come in here and figure out what the maximum number we could hold inside of here would be. We're just going to do this, and we'll say something like max num, and to get the maximum number we can store inside of here, we would just go number and then max value. And we can also get the minimum value, so we might as well take a look at that. And you can see right there the maximum value that we could store inside of our JavaScript code, as well as the minimum value we could store inside of there. Now, when we talk about minimums and maximums, you might think, well, those are going to be 100% accurate, that large. Nah, not really. Basically, let's come in here and let's perform a precision test, and know that a number can only be precise up to 16 digits of precision, as you're going to see right here. So here we go, I have a value inside of here, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add to this to see how the precision works out for us. So we'll save that, and you can see that this perfectly works fine. You can see these values add up to 2 and 2 and so forth and so on. But what would happen if we would come in here and say add another 0 and add another 0, file save, reload, and now you can see that everything gets a little bit messed up. So just understand that if any time you go over 16 digits of precision with your decimal values, that things are going to get messed up. And this isn't anything that's specific to JavaScript. This is true of pretty much every programming language. Another thing we want to do here is round some values. So say we have a customer that has a balance at our store, and we want to come in here and we want to print out that value, and we also want to verify or make sure that it comes out to 2 decimal places. Well, let's say that we want to set up something like a monthly payment for this customer so they can pay off their balance. Again, we're going to put a comma inside of there, and we're going to take their balance and we're going to divide that by 12, since it's going to be 12 months until they pay that off. If we then want to round this to 2 decimal places, we just go 2 fixed and then put a 2 inside of there like that. And you can see right there, to pay off that balance in 1 year, they would have to pay $130.32 per month. If you took the 2 fixed out of here, let's go and do that just so you can see what that looks like. You're going to see that it doesn't come out to 2 decimal places. So 2 fixed is another way for us to work or filter our numbers so that they make sense on the screen. Go and create another variable called rand number and give it a value of 5. There's all kinds of different shortcut ways we can work with our different values to perform common operations. Like, for example, let's say that we wanted to take a random number and increment it by 1. We could just go plus plus like this, but be aware there's 2 different ways that we can increment, and I'm going to show you both of them right now so that you won't be confused by them. And the other way to do said thing is to come in here and throw the plus plus before the random number. And basically what this is going to do is the guy above is going to come in here and print this out to the screen and then increment the value of random number. And here what this is going to do is it's going to increment the value of random number and then print it to the screen. If I reload it, you can see exactly that that is what it did. We're also going to be able to come in here and subtract 1 from the random number, and you can see exactly how those calculations work out for us. And also there are other shortcut ways to add 1 to a value and then store it back inside of itself. So let's just come back inside of here, document right, and we'll do something like random number. If we wanted to add 5 to random number and then store the result of that calculation back into random number, this is how that's done. Random number plus equal to 5, and we can perform this calculation in multiple different ways. And if we reload that, you can see exactly how that works out. Another thing we can do, or one other thing we should pay attention to, is something called order of operations. And that just basically means that we're going to use parentheses to make sure the calculations are done in specific ways. So first we're going to do a calculation without using parentheses. And you're going to see, if we take 3 plus 2 times 5, that is going to provide us with different results than if we went in here and went 3 plus 2 and surround 3 plus 2 with parentheses, as well as right here, because normal order of operations says that we should multiply 2 times 5 and then add that to 3, but since we put the parentheses here, it's going to first add these, then multiply that times 5. And you can see there how that differs. Now there are numerous different properties and methods built into math libraries inside of JavaScript, so let's take a look at a couple of those. We would just access them, like let's say we wanted to get the value of the numerical constant e. What we would do is just do exactly what you see right here, and we could also come in and do the same thing with pi, two numbers that are built inside of JavaScript. And there you can see those numbers. And of course there are a ton of different methods that are built inside of JavaScript. And here is just a short list. We'll be able to come in and get the absolute value. We'll be able to come in and get the cube root. We'll be able to get a rounding to the ceiling, which means we're going to round up. A round to the floor, which means we're going to round down. A standard round, which means if it's 6.5, it's going to round up. If it's below 6.5, it's going to round down. We can get the natural logarithm. We can get the logarithm to the base of 10. We can get the max value of either one of these that is passed in, the minimum value. We can calculate the power as well as the square root and a whole bunch of other different calculations. Of course, there's cosine, sine, all those different things. And we can come over here and there